Okay, let's just dive right into this. June 2026, a date that literally rewrote the history books. I mean, imagine hitting a financial milestone so absolutely massive that the daily news cycle actually has to invent a new word for it. When SpaceX launched its historic IPO at $135 a share, it didn't just push the company's valuation to $1.77 trillion, it officially crowned Elon Musk as the world's very first trillionaire. His net worth completely shattered the $1.3 trillion mark, a single person's vision actually reshaping the world. Wild, right? Welcome to this explainer, everyone. Today, we're going to break down the exact trillion-dollar blueprint of how one man's vision is actively rewriting the future of our entire species. And listen, we aren't just talking about money here. We are talking about a fundamental, ground-up shift in how humanity operates. So here is today's blueprint. We'll be covering 5 massive sections. First, the early struggles leading up to PayPal. Then, SpaceX and the reusable rocket revolution. Next, Tesla's leap into AI and robotics, followed by the XAI and Neuralink era. And finally, we'll unpack the mastermind's actual blueprint for success. All right, Section 1, Early Struggles to PayPal. Let's see how this foundation was built. Now, before all the billions and the rockets, you've got to realize this empire was built on immense risk and struggle. Born in Pretoria, South Africa in 1971, he was already coding by age 12. He actually sold a video game called Blastar for $500. Talk about an early entrepreneurial spark. At 17, he moves to Canada to chase better opportunities. And then, the craziest risk of all, at age 24, he enrolls in a Stanford PhD program in applied physics and drops out after just 48 hours. The pull of the internet boom was just so strong that he threw his entire academic future out the window to chase it. And taking that dropout risk wasn't glamorous at all. During the days of his first company, Zip2, the guy couldn't even afford rent. He was literally sleeping on the office floor and taking showers at the local YMCA. But that hustle, it definitely paid off. Zip2 sold, and he rolled those funds into X.com, which eventually became PayPal. The result? A massive $1.5 billion exit to eBay in 2002. Musk walked away with around $165 million. First massive risk, first massive win. Moving to Section 2, SpaceX and the reusable revolution. So with $165 million in his pocket, a normal person would probably retire to a private island somewhere. But not Musk. Instead, he risked absolutely everything on the completely crazy dream of private space exploration. He starts SpaceX in 2002. But space is brutally hard. Those first 3 Falcon 1 launches, devastating, fiery failures. He was down to his very last dollars. If that 4th launch had failed, it was game over. But in 2008, that crucial 4th launch was completely flawless, and rather than just building throwaway rockets, he pioneered a reusable revolution that changed the economics of spaceflight forever. That single, successful 4th launch really was the ultimate turning point. It secured a staggering $1.6 billion NASA contract. That lifeline didn't just save SpaceX from bankruptcy, it skyrocketed their growth. To the point where today, their Falcon 9 and Heavy rockets handle over 50% of all global orbital launches, more than half the world's launches. But the scale doesn't stop with just rockets. Take a look at this number, 5 million. By January 2026, the Starlink project aggressively expanded to over 9,600 active satellites in low Earth orbit. I mean, imagine the most remote, isolated villages on Earth getting fiber optic speeds literally beaming down from space. This massive network is now delivering high-speed internet to over 5 million global subscribers, connecting everywhere. The true endgame, though, is this absolute beast of a machine, the Super Heavy Starship. We're talking about a vehicle capable of carrying a 100,000-kilogram payload. It's the designated ride for the 2026 NASA Artemis mission to put humans back on the moon. But more importantly, this is his definitive ticket to colonizing Mars. The roadmap for humanity's next home is completely locked in. Now, let's switch gears for a second. Ask yourself this fundamental question. Who actually made electric vehicles sexy? Before 2004, EVs were widely known for being slow, ugly, and totally impractical for daily life. They were essentially overgrown golf carts. Which brings us to Section 3, Tesla, and how it's about so much more than just cars. Tesla completely redefined the global automotive industry. Before Musk came on board as chairman and early investor, the EV landscape was incredibly dull. Then, boom, the Tesla era began. starting with the high-performance Roadster in 2008, then the absolute game-changer, the Model S in 2012, all the way to the wild futuristic Cybertruck in 2023. They didn't just manufacture cars, they single-handedly forced a massive global shift from petrol to sustainable energy. But here's the kicker. Tesla is actually a robotics and AI lab hiding in plain sight. They're using a unified AI vision system not just for their full self-driving cars, but also for their humanoid Optimus robots. This relentless push into total automation is exactly why, in November 2025, shareholders approved a historic, unprecedented $1 trillion compensation package for Musk, and that's heavily tied to targeting an astronomical $8.5 trillion market cap. Just mind-blowing numbers. All right, moving on to Section 4. The XAI and Neuralink era. This is where we get into digital and human evolution. So, having pretty much conquered energy and space, Musk aggressively shifted his focus. He started targeting digital truth, artificial intelligence, and honestly, human evolution itself. It started with a super bold strategy, buying Twitter for a massive $44 billion in 2022 and immediately rebranding it to X, aiming to create the ultimate everything app. Fast forward to 2025, and we get the historic $33 billion all-stock merger between X and his new AI company, XAI, the most powerful ecosystem of information and intelligence, all under one roof. Let's break down the sheer computing dominance of XAI. Their flagship chatbot, Grok, launched in 2023 and quickly became known for its transparent, witty personality. By 2026, it had rapidly climbed the ranks to become the world's third largest AI. And how did they do it? It's powered by Colossus. This is a terrifyingly powerful supercomputer cluster running on 100,000 H100 chips. To put that into perspective, it's like linking the world's most advanced brains together. It's an absolute processing powerhouse. But with AI advancing this rapidly, you have to ask, how do we humans stay relevant? Enter Neuralink. They've developed a brain-computer interface, or BCI. It's literally an implanted microchip that lets you control digital devices seamlessly using only your thoughts. During the 2024 and 2025 clinical trials, paralyzed patients were successfully implanted. And the results? They were playing video games and creating digital art purely with their minds. This isn't just a new tech gadget, it's practically a rebirth of human capability. Finally, Section 5, the Mastermind's Blueprint. Let's look at the actual secrets to all this success. So, how on earth does one single individual manage to completely disrupt finance, aerospace, automotive, AI, and neurotech all at the same time without totally burning out? It all boils down to a mental model called first principles thinking. Here's how it works. First, you identify a massively complex problem. Second, you strip away all the assumptions and break it down to its most basic, undeniable facts, the atoms of the problem. And step 3, you build a totally novel solution from scratch, based only on those facts. Let's see this exact logic in action. When Musk wanted to send a rocket to Mars, buying a pre-built one was going to cost $65 million. Outrageous, right? Using this deconstruction funnel, he broke it down and realized that the raw materials, the aluminum, the titanium, the carbon fiber, only cost about 2% of that total price. That specific aha moment is exactly what prompted him to build SpaceX entirely from scratch. Break the problem down to basic facts and build your own custom solution from there. But look, a brilliant framework is absolutely nothing without execution. You have to combine that first principles thinking with relentless, almost punishing grit. I mean, he's famous for these crazy 100 to 120-hour work weeks. He practices extreme leadership, literally sleeping on the factory floor during the Model 3 production hell, just so he could be on the front lines solving bottlenecks himself. Success like this doesn't come from luck. It comes from an insane level of dedication. And all of this boundary-pushing execution culminated in immense global respect. After winning in 2024 and 2025, he secured an incredible consecutive hat trick by taking home the prestigious 2026 Global Recognition Award. This specific honor was for his unparalleled paradigm-shifting contributions to space exploration through SpaceX and for pushing the absolute limits of neurotechnology with Neuralink. So when you put all these pieces together, the ultimate goal becomes incredibly clear. That $1.3 trillion valuation, it's really just a byproduct. The real mission behind this entire ecosystem, from Tesla's sustainable energy to XAI's digital truth and Neuralink's human evolution, is to ensure our survival. He's actively pushing us from being a single-planet species to a multi-planetary one. So considering everything we've unpacked in this explainer today, are you ready for the journey to Mars? Think about it.